Hi, I'm Randy Van Wagner, president of Mohawk Valley Community College, and I'm here with Frank DuRoss, who's the vice president for community development and the executive director of the MVCC Foundation. Frank started working at MVCC in this role in 2008, came to us as a serial entrepreneur, having created and run 29 businesses of his own, and then came to MVCC where I asked him to run the foundation like his 30th business. So during that time, during the last 13 years, he's been part of doubling the endowment for the foundation, establishing an emergency loan fund in the foundation, creating the Thinkubator, which is a new business startup accelerator, brought the Small Business Development Center to be housed next to the Thinkubator, and creating the MVCC at Bag Square Center, as well as creating Tea Leaf Ventures through the foundation, which is multiple social enterprises that operate as limited liability corporations under the foundation to have all profits from those LLCs go back to the MVCC Foundation for scholarships and general use. So all of that and much, much more in 13 years and counting. Frank, thanks so much for helping me and MVCC celebrate 75 years.
My pleasure, Randy. And it's a great institution. What we've been able to accomplish as a team here over the last 13 years while I've been here is pretty amazing. And what's happened over the previous 75 years is just as amazing. So I'm glad I was able to play a small role in what we're doing today.
That's great. So, having established 29 businesses and as a serial entrepreneur, tell just a quick story how you came to work at MVCC and take such a career change.
Really, as you mentioned, I'd started 29 businesses prior to coming to NVCC 13 years ago. And my last business didn't work out, as a lot of businesses don't. And I was facing with the prospect what I was going to do with my career and my life, quite honestly. And I saw an ad in the paper, actually, and I applied for a job at NV, the first job. I wasn't successful in that application, but when you got back to me that the executive director was leaving of the NVCC Foundation, and you called me up and said, would I have an interest in that? After I met with the board members, I decided I thought it was a role that I could make a difference to help the college, to help the community, and mainly to help our students. So I viewed it almost that this is no different than any of my other businesses. It's going to take the same type of dedication, perseverance, outreach that it takes to grow any business. When I came into this role, as you had mentioned, the foundation was at one level, and our goal was to certainly increase it over the next number of years. And you and I had that conversation, and we entered our first major gift campaign to have an impact. I think our original goal was $7 or $8 million, which I think we both thought was a pretty substantial goal for a community college in Utica, New York. Well, we did that over the last 5-6 years, and obviously we were successful at that. And what made it success was our ability to portray the story of our students and what an impact our alums and our current students have in the community. So it wasn't a tough sell, really. It was just telling the story to stakeholders of how important NVCC is throughout Oneida County and other areas of the state. So I think that was a major accomplishment that we, working together and with other members of our team, were able to persevere and reach our goal and exceed our goal by a substantial amount.
Yeah. And can you share a little bit about how the emergency loan fund works, just briefly, and what the success has been with that?
What happened with the foundation, we had many students, and we handle the scholarships for the college and other initiatives. And we had some students come in and say, they were going to be forced to stop out of NVCC for various financial needs, whether it was their national grid was going to be shut off, whether their car was broke down, or they didn't have enough money for books, or even necessities in life like food and shelter. It seemed to me that we were helping a lot of students with scholarships, but we also need to help students survive in life so they could stay in and reach their ultimate goal of obtaining a degree or moving on to a productive job in a community. So I spoke to one of our early donors about raising some money, a small amount initially, that we would set up an application process. I do the intake. Students that had needs that would force them to stop out would come up to my office. I would meet them, go over what their needs are, what their accounts look like, and quickly turn around to get them a check ASAP so they could stay in college and continue on their journey.
Yeah. And what's been the repayment? These are students that are at the brink and ready to
Yeah.
stop out and have no money, and
Yeah.
through the emergency loan fund, what's the repayment rate?
The repayment's like 96%, which is amazing. Most banks would be happy with that, but the students really appreciate us reaching out to them. And the repayment's been great. I mean, there's a couple that we missed for whatever reason that we didn't get repaid, but overall, it's been a great program. We've helped hundreds of students to date with these temporary loans that do get paid back, typically out of their financial aid package. So it's helped students stay in, and it's helped the foundation grow their impact in the community. A lot of those students that we've helped come back after they've received their degree and ask how they can help NVCC and help other students. So it's certainly the payback's been there, and they're paying it forward for other students.
Yeah, great. And other memories, you mentioned the Major Gifts campaign, memories that stick out for you about what the college means to you or the community, or just memories that'll stay with you for a long time?
Yeah, I think, I didn't realize at the time when I joined the staff at NVCC, the depth of NVCC had in the community and how impactful they were in the community as well as with our students. And, it's great that we're able to help our students succeed. I mean, that was something I didn't kind of really think of that much. I didn't have a lot of issues when I was in college a few years back, but we've helped make a difference in many people's lives here at the foundation and at the college. And that's probably been the most meaningful part of what we're doing. When we're out raising money, it's always in front of our mind, and this money is to help our students succeed. So it's an easy sell, quite honestly.
Yeah, I was always amazed that when I first learned that the emergency loan fund, as you set that up, here you are as the vice president, you meet with every one of those students individually to hear their story and help problem solve and resource them to
Sure.
keep them in college some way. If I could put you on the spot, is there a student story that might stand out that?
I mean, I think for two things. First of all, it was important because I wanted students to realize that we're not in an ivory tower. I've faced similar challenges, not as deep as these individuals have, but we've all had challenges. And I want people that were coming in to see us to not be embarrassed, to know that we're going to work with them to get through it. And I had challenges in my life too, both financially and others. So I was able to get out of them. And I wanted to kind of be an example for others. I think one of the students that came to us, it was a female student that had 3 children, and she was in an abusive relationship, and she had to leave her apartment the night before she came in to see us, and she had 3 kids with her. She was obviously very upset and very emotional, which I've been known to get emotional myself when you hear these stories, and I just knew how important it was for us to help this individual. And that day, I made a few calls to individuals that owned apartments, got them the deposit, and was able to put her in a safe spot where she could move on for her life. Ultimately, she did complete her degree and she moved on in life. So, I mean, when somebody came into our office with that type of story, we had to do everything we can to help them, and we were able to help her and her children going forward.
That's great.
I mean, there's been some stories with C3. We like to raise money for C3 to help fill our pantry, our food pantry, and help students in the C3 position. So that's been another great area that I feel that we've done a good job with.
Yeah. Could you just briefly share a little bit about what the Thinkubator is and
Sure.
and how it came to be?
Well, the Thinkubator came about because when you and I went to Lorraine Community College with some other of our colleagues to see how they were helping startups in the community, when we came back, I kind of thought, well, we don't have a large university here in Oneida County that's willing to step up and help the startup ecosystem get to where it should be. So I had this idea, we both had the idea at the same time, really. Let's see if we can help this. So when we went to county executive presenter, we went to the community foundation and others, we were able to raise the funds, and we were able to hire a part-time entrepreneur and resident and set up on Genesee Street in 800 square feet of space and provide free programming, whether it was mentoring, it was accounting services, legal services, or whatever somebody needed to start a business. There was nothing like that here in Oneida County, and I thought it would be helpful. And now that the Thinkubator is an 8,500 square feet, at the NVCC Center at Bank Square. And over the last 5 years, we've helped 50 businesses either accelerate to where they're self-sustaining or startup businesses. So it was something that was missing in the community. And some people may not think a community college could play that role, but working together with our colleagues, I was pretty confident we could help people. I've started numerous businesses. I know what it's like. So I think it was a role that, I cherish and to this day, I'm proud of.
That's great. And then you brought that with continuing with your entrepreneurial spirit. You kind of helped create this, provide the leadership necessary to take that risk, entrepreneurial risk, and create Tea Leaf Ventures. So could you say a little more about that?
Sure. I'm Tea Leaf Ventures, again, a typical startup, whether it was receiving airplanes as donations and trying to resell them, take the parts off and repurpose them or resell them, or booking acts through Tea Leaf Touring and Consulting, or using our Fab Lab to really help people in the community that didn't have the capacity that we had at the college. So we are providing a service that we have the skills in, helping local industries. And as you say, the profits go back to continue to help others, including our students, obviously. It's got the challenges of any startups, and we all know that, those are pretty tough startups, but to date, the board of trustees and the foundation board have been very supportive of, our Thinkubator. We were able to receive a New York State grant, innovative hotspot, and that helped us. And because of the success of the Thinkubator, it led to the Small Business Development Center reaching out to us to say if they could come here and if we could operate that. So it's been a great marriage. It's something that I feel, again, we've made a big impact in this community that nobody else was prior to us coming on the scene.
Yeah. So over 13 years of service here at the college, probably not on your radar screen or overall career plan, thinking you'd be spending 13 years doing what you've been doing at MVCC. What has kept you coming back all these years and continuing to do your work here at the college?
I think what really keeps me coming back and what I got the greatest satisfaction was the emergency relief program that we have, just to see face-to-face students that are facing challenges they never thought they could overcome, and being able to listen to their story and have the empathy of what position they're in, and to be able to help those students. Like you say, it's a little bit of social work. It's also a little bit of salesmanship. It's a little bit of everything that gives me probably the greatest satisfaction.
Yeah, they talk about so much research around job satisfaction and long-term tenured employees. The secret sauce is being connected to a higher purpose. And here at Mohawk Valley Community College, I think that's pretty easy for all of us to find. So
for sure, I know I feel very connected to the people we help. I hear back from them periodically. So it's a very rewarding position that I'm fortunate enough to be in, quite honestly.
Very good. Well, Frank DuRoss, thank you so much for helping MVCC celebrate 75 years.
Oh, you're welcome. And thanks for having me. And I enjoy it every day, Randy.
Very good. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.